Hello, and welcome back to the Animal Communicator and Healer Summit. This is the place for aspiring and established animal communicators and healers to connect with animals, to connect with their abilities, and to connect with each other. I'm your host, Dr. Kara Gubbins, founder of the Animal Wisdom Circle and How to Talk to Your Pet, the proven 4-step system that teaches anyone and everyone how to communicate intuitively with their pets or with any animal. And today, you can tell by my smile, I'm having so much fun already with Susan Tenney. And we are going to be talking about acupressure for animals. Susan Tenney is the co-founder of Elemental Acupressure. As an instructor, she's been teaching 5-element acupressure and shiatsu massage for animals in the US and Europe since 1993. She's worked as a team equine massage therapist for the United States equestrian team and for the Swiss national, gosh, it's a tongue twister, Swiss national equestrian team. She's also published a book on equine acupressure and has written columns for Natural Horse Magazine and the Whole Horse Journal. And you can find her online at elementalacupressure.com. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with all of your wonderful people.
This is such a great community and such a great event. And just for our viewers, Susan and I have kind of known each other on Facebook and tried to do something for, I don't know, like 5 years now.
Yes.
And this is it. We're finally doing it. So we're
I'm so excited.
So
it's just wonderful.
So Susan, I want to start with your story. How did you become an animal acupressure practitioner?
Well, you know, when I'm talking to people who aren't kind of open to spiritual things, I have a slightly different story that I tell that's certainly true. But here in this community, I think I can tell the real story, which is it was all dreams. It was all dreams. So I started having dreams in about 92, night after night after night about horses. Now, I had been a crazy horse-obsessed girl, like so many of us were. But I, grown up, I'd had some injuries that said that I really shouldn't be riding much anymore. And so I'd kind of moved on, much to the glee of my parents, of course, who thought that I should get up and go to college instead of be in barns. But after all sorts of adventures and fun things, like I said, I was having dreams of horses every single night after a long time of not really being connected to horses at all. And I was really wondering what in the world I could do. I mean, I could shovel manure for a job, I suppose, but I figured I had something more to offer to the world. And my husband, who is also a really good dreamer, started having some dreams too. So it was very interesting that, it was clear that something was up. And so one day he's reading one of his massage books about business. He did human massage, still does. And he said, "Oh, I found your next career. You're going to massage horses. That's what we've been doing." I said, "What? You can't do that for work. How can, no one's going to pay me to pat horses? That's ridiculous." And he said, "Well, it's right here in this book." And it was one of the very, very early programs in the United States that was talking about, yes, indeed, you could create a career out of this. And I actually didn't end up following their route. It was a much more kind of sports massage, a much more kind of analytical, kind of biomechanically ended training. I wanted to know energy. I wanted to know how to work with healing and the animals and the spirit and all of that wonderful, juicy stuff. So I figured I'd create my own thing. I went to shiatsu training for humans because there was no kind of acupressure schools and stuff like there is now. There's lots of programs now. So I went to shiatsu training for people, and it just kind of opened everything up. I just fell in love with acupressure and shiatsu and touch and all these amazing things with Chinese medical theory, and then would take them home at the end of that week of training. I'd take them home and figure out, how do I do this on an animal? I don't know. I'm just going to try this. And it works beautifully. I mean, it's amazing. And so it just kind of snowballed into something wonderful. And so I've been doing it ever since.
Wow, that's so cool. And I'm a big fan of dreams. A lot of my life path has come from dreams, and I now start to like really intentionally ask my dreams, what's my next step? What am I doing?
Yeah,
What am I missing? And so I love that that's part of your story.
yeah. It
Where,
was
sorry, go ahead.
no, it was just that I'd had when I was in college. I was in Assisi in Italy, and I actually had this whole visionary experience that said you're going to work with animals and you'll return to the spirit of Saint Francis. And I was like, what? I was in school and intellectual up to here. And so I had kind of put this whole spiritual experience that I had had kind of on the side. And it was so amazing when it all came back, because it was from the, I ended up studying in a shiatsu school that was actually in the Franciscan convent's dorm. So it was the mission of St. Francis was across the street. And this was where the monks and the nuns had lived originally, and it was turned into kind of an office building. But I was like, yeah, we're on track. So
Yeah, I got chills all over my arms when you
yeah,
told
yeah.
the story.
I'm getting all teary-eyed just thinking about it.
It's really
But anyway,
amazing.
it was clear that I was on the right path.
Yeah. So where did elemental acupressure come into the picture?
Well, we actually started out when we were working, we called our business Equine Massage. And that was the name of our business because there were so few people doing it. But as we kind of grew and developed, my husband and I, he was working with the riders and I was working with the horses. We weren't doing the dogs yet. And actually, but we realized that 5-element acupressure, which is kind of a branch of Chinese medicine that's quite powerful and very, very beautiful and poetic, and really spoke to us on so many levels. We realized that that was the essence of our unique offering to the animal community. And it wasn't, because everybody has their own little piece that they want to offer. And ours was definitely to kind of really dive in this elemental end of things. And so after a couple names and a couple of kind of starts with things, we decided to call the business Elemental Acupressure because it is based on this 5-element system, which is a slightly different branch than your typical branches of work. But we find that the 5-element system is just a branch of Chinese medicine, very old, very profound, and very beautiful. And so it felt nice, but we also like that sense of the word elemental in that it also means like a beginner. It's open to everyone. It's not only for, people who want to be a veterinarian. It's also for absolutely everyone to learn how to use really basic, simple touch that creates some pretty incredible experiences. So we liked how it worked for any animal, but also how it just communicated a lot of our values, which is inclusive of all sorts of levels.
Wow, love it. So for people who don't know, will you explain what acupressure is?
Absolutely. So acupressure in its most basic level just means you touch certain parts of, the surface of the body. There are these nodes or places or points where there is an energetic power. And so when you touch into these places, you kind of activate, it's like flicking a switch on all sorts of wonderful healing messages for the body. And it's not so much that we are actually doing something to the tissue, kind of like massage when you're working that, you're actually removing adhesions or actually doing something physical. Although, some of the work I do can have that effect. The intention is usually more to kind of activate the energetic flow of this life force energy that goes through the body. And what's amazing about it is it doesn't take a lot of physical strength. I mean, you just touch the surface of the body. And the body, in its wisdom, knows how to heal itself. So in some ways, we're really just a vessel. We're just coming and reminding the body that we're touching. You can come to better balance. You can come to better health if you choose. It's not, as a healer, we tend to like think that I heal, but it's much more that I'm just being there present for the animal and trying to encourage them to find their own best balance.
I love that. So that little bit of intentional pressure in just the right place, it opens up the flow of energy that had been maybe blocked or stopped or constricted in some way. And that allows the healing that comes with that energy then to happen on its own.
And all of this is coming from a system from Oriental medicine. So it's hundreds of years old. And they've mapped out the Chinese and other Oriental cultures had mapped out these point systems and also the channels or the kind of the networks of how all these flows went together. And it can get very technical and analytical, and you can become very in your head about this. And there's plenty for the mind and the intellect to grab onto. But the essence of acupressure is really just very simple touch, activating better balance. And what's amazing is that because it's an energetic tool, you don't even have to touch the body. I actually also do remote work with some of my European clients where I can be sitting here in Seattle and get into meditative space and activate the energy, and it's just as effective, sometimes even more. So
I love it. The new paradigms, the paradigm shifting and opening up and everything. So when you first started, were you surprised at how effective it was?
Here's the thing. I've been doing this. We're getting close to 30 years now. And so, I've worked with hundreds of animals, hundreds and hundreds of students, and it still surprises me. That's the thing that's amazing. It's like, on one level, it's very mundane. Like you touch stomach 36 and it helps the digestion. And you know intellectually that it's done this because it's done this a million times. And yet in the moment when you're sitting there and you touch that point and the horse lowers the head and licks and chews and sighs, or the dog just kind of falls asleep in front of you because they're so happy and just in a better state of relaxation and relief, it's kind of a little miracle each time, which is so nice. It definitely continues to surprise you and give you experiences that you go, oh my God, it actually does work, The muggle part of our brain just wants to think it's not possible, but it is, and it shows itself all the time.
And we all need that reminder that there's miracles, that we're a miracle. So what kind of conditions are people coming to help their horses and their dogs and their other animals?
Right. When I started, I was much more, although I was fascinated by the whole energetic healing aspect, most of my clients were coming for very mundane things. So I was working with a lot of horses who are performance horses, sport horses. And so they were coming to me for, lamenesses or just very physical things that they wanted to, and the kinds of things that you think of, like if you have a professional football player, they have a massage therapist on staff because it helps the muscles work better. It helps them do their job better. And so that's definitely where I started, just because, those are the people who are willing to pay me. But as it grew and people became more open to what I had to offer, it was amazing how it began to really grow. So it went from being just kind of biomechanical issues to being much kind of deeper health issues, because Chinese medicine has tremendous tools for working respiratory issues, immune issues, digestive issues, internal organ issues, you name it, there's probably a point for it. But it even has gone beyond that. And part of the reason that I love the elemental approach so much is that the work that we do and the kind of the legacy that I'm continuing on with is also working on the emotional level. And so people would come to me because, their horse had, anxiety issues around training, or their dog had issues around maybe anger and aggression. And we can work with that whole range from the strictly physical. And it's really, really good for a sport horse. but you can also take it for just issues around grief. Then, you know, if an animal has lost their partner or anything, it really can have some assistance in that wide range of options.
And I know in the bonus interview that we're going to do, you're going to talk about specific points for that we can use on our pets or horses or whoever when they're under stress to help ease that stress. So we're going to go deeper into that.
Right.
But for right now, where would somebody get started if they, you know, said, oh, like I see my cat, my dog, my horse, they could use a little extra help with this situation, whether it's emotional or physical. Are there easy places for us to start at home just on our own?
Absolutely.
What do we need to do?
Absolutely. So, you know, we have a 2-year training program for people that want to do this professionally, and you can go down a rabbit hole that never ends on the theory. And so if people are really drawn to going whole hog, it's there. But I think one of the biggest messages that I continue to try to talk about on social media and with my clients and classes and things like that is that this is for anyone. Anyone who can love an animal, that's all you need. That's really all you need. You don't, you know, people say, well, what if you know, had some sort of physical disability and weren't able to touch? Like I said, you can do this distance work as well. If you can sit and focus your intention, you can do acupressure. So what that means is every single person that wants to bring a better balance to their animal, the way that they would do it is simply learn some locations of some of these points. And, you know, there's a million places to learn, but one of the ones that we certainly encourage people to do is to join us like on Facebook and Instagram under Elemental Acupressure. We have points of the week so they can come in, just see points. And sometimes the points will be for coughing, and sometimes they're for digestion, and sometimes they're for, like the one we did this past couple of weeks has been more about working with grief. So whatever, you know, whatever you're needing, if you look through our resources, we've got a lot of suggestions of places that you can go. And the nice thing is the techniques can be very complicated, very subtle, and very, you know, you can study this forever. But the very basics, and if your animal is basically happy and basically healthy, all you have to do is put your fingers on the point, give a tiny bit of pressure, breathe, and stay relaxed, and see what happens. And it usually brings beautiful results. So we have all sorts of stuff on our website about that, and all sorts of stuff on social media for, you know, lots and lots of points. But the big thing is just to dive in and get started, because you'll be amazed how simple it is.
I love it. And I love your points of the week because they're pow.
Yeah.
And I catch them all the time on Facebook. So I'm really glad you told people about that, because it is a place where you can start easily. You can just like, I'll just try this one. It pops up on my feed. I'll try this one today, see what happens. And there's no overwhelming, like I have to learn all these things first.
Right.
Like, let's just go do this. Let's see. And I love that it's just bringing us closer to our animals.
Exactly. And I think, you know, we had we launched a new product last year that was for absolute beginners. So not people are planning to go on forever. It was just absolute beginners. And so the Pegasus Touch was for horses. We'll have the dog one coming out this year. But it was amazing. We had 60 incredible, almost all of them were women, coming in. And they'd never done it before. And they're like, oh, you know, I've been kind of afraid to do it because it seems so complicated. And I read this book and I just had to put it back on the shelf because it was too complicated. Like, they come in with a lot of anxiety. And so we're like, we're just going to have fun. So just give a try to these 4 points. And it was amazing. We got stories of, oh, my horse had this response, my horse had that response. And these were absolute beginners. And yet they were amazing. They're trainers and they're vets and they're farriers and everybody, like, oh my God, you do not have to be an expert. And that's what I really, really, really love about just getting started with the simple stuff. If you want to go further, fine. But if you don't, you just want to have it in your toolbox, that's perfect. That's perfect. It brings you closer together. And animals, they love it. I mean, how could they not love it? So it's good stuff.
I love it. I want to just for a second do a little bit of an eddy out. Sorry, river kayaking terminology. I'm really getting this strong sense that a lot of our viewers are going to be animal lovers who want to become healers who don't know their modality yet.
Right.
And so they may be going, well, maybe this is for me because I
Right.
can get started. I can start practicing a 2-year thing. Can you just tell us a little bit more? I'm getting like tingles all over my body. Just tell us a little bit more about becoming a professional and what your program is and how it works for people. Because I really think there's going to be people that are going to be like, oh, that's what I've been looking for. Tell me more.
Yeah. And so I've been, since 1996, we have been training people to do this as their work. And it's a fascinating process. People come to us thinking, I am going to fix animals, you know, like I don't like people too much. I'm going to work with animals because I like animals. It's an amazing transformative experience because what they usually find when they get into it is, yes, of course, they're working with animals, but what tends to happen is they tend to get transformed in the 2-year process as well. It's a pretty powerful kind of work and modality because, of course, we need to work with ourselves and heal ourselves. And so our program is very much kind of integrating in both working on these very kind of technical, like, okay, you need to learn this point or that point to deal with respiratory or cough, or, you know, whatever. But we're also really integrating in people understanding their own elemental state, their own understandings, how to work with their own energy, and coming to better balance within themselves as well. So it's a 2-year process, and we definitely take people from the very beginnings all the way to some stuff that's really kind of heady, crazy level, exciting, out there, esoteric stuff. My husband also joins us, and he is trained in the psychic work. And so he teaches people how to do very energetic based work to stay grounded and clear your energy after a session, and do energetic readings and things like this. And it's a perfect match to the hands-on stuff that we do with the acupressure. And so what I find is that we definitely have people that come to us because acupressure, because there's a nice theory behind it, and because people are beginning to know about acupuncture, acupressure, it kind of has a good weight within the animal community, and it's believable somehow. And so people come to us to kind of put a degree on the end of their name. And we're even this year, and then the next couple months, we'll be aligned with the NABCAM, which is the National Board Certification for Animal Acupressure and Massage, and we'll be one of the schools that is offering NABCAM certification. And so that gives that nice kind of legitimacy to you when you're going out to a client, and you can say that I've done this kind of standardized testing to know that I'm for real, you know. But the training itself is something that some people really use as the basis of what they do, and they continue with acupressure, and we can take them to very advanced levels, and learning the theory and the practice and the points and all of that. And other people use this as part of their healing journey, where they come in thinking, I'm not sure what I need, and it gives them kind of a little safe crucible, a little safe space for them to explore healing and touch and energy and all of these kinds of things in a place that's guided, but also really transformative. It's really turned some lives around. It's been pretty exciting to watch what our students end up doing. So some end up going on and doing massage and acupressure, and others, I mean, we've had people start doing 5-element art therapy for seniors. We've had people go into Qigong. I mean, it's amazing to see how it all branches out and where it goes from there. So it's been a good first step for a lot of people.
And I love that you're really seeing people make it their own and then express themselves through that as an avenue to help them become more of who they're here to be.
Absolutely. I know that for one thing, when I was training, I had some incredible teachers, but each teacher had a slightly different approach, and I benefited from all of them. And so I have encountered some teachers in this field sometimes that are like, you have to learn my way. I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me. As far as I can see it, there is so much out there, and every single person is going to run that training through their system and their hands and how they work and make it theirs. That's how it should be, in my opinion. And so it is quite beautiful to see how people take what we offer them and they show me incredible things, and they discover new beautiful parts to add on to this legacy we have from Chinese medicine. So it's a very powerful journey for many, many people.
It sounds really awesome. I want to do it. Any final words of wisdom, Susan, that you want to share with our viewers?
I think for me, the most important thing that I like get up on my soapbox about, and I've already mentioned it, but I feel like I can't say it enough, is all of us have the ability to be healers if we want to be. I mean, if we don't, okay, that's fine. But if this is something that draws you, if you want to touch and connect to your animals, if you want to communicate with them, it's such an incredible thing to know that you can. You don't have to be, if you're going to be a chiropractor or something that's a really technical, even dangerous if it's not done correctly method, of course you need to really go and go in that direction. But if we're just talking about touch and just talking about supporting our animals, connecting and bonding with our animals, just simple touch can really open up entire new worlds of ways of being with your animal, which for me, that's why I do this. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's like a child's dream, right? Where we just want to be able to talk and connect with our animal. And it's a great way to do it.
I love it because it's such a clear path to bring you to that place. There's no, there's individuality, but there's no ambiguity. And if that's what you want, you can use these methods and you will get what you want to get out of it. So it's really clear results.
Yeah, it's so fun too. And the animals love it. I mean, they really love it.
So Susan, do you want to tell people about the free gift that you have for them?
Sure. So I find that we all want to support animals who have gone through some kind of trauma. And sometimes those traumas are like little everyday traumas, like they got sick or they got a little injury, but we also will encounter animals in our lives that we really feel drawn to, we really want to support. Maybe they've come from a rescue situation, maybe an animal's been through a traumatic event and you really want to help them come back to better balance. So what I have done is I've put together a PDF that has 3 really, really good, safe, and simple points to start with that you can use as kind of building your toolbox for an animal that's been through a trauma. And again, it can be real low level, everyday stuff, or it can be, a rescue animal that's really gone through a story of some sort. And these are ways that we can support those animals in coming back to a better place. And amazingly, a lot of times when we're working with these animals, we experience a transformative experience as well. So it's pretty powerful stuff, but we keep it really simple so that anybody can do it. And just remember, I'm also going to include some basic instructions on how to do that at a distance. So if the animal is not open to being touched, no problem. You can do this at a distance and still be very, very effective, which is really helpful when you're dealing with some rescue animals.
And I could see how, somebody who volunteers at a shelter or something like that, this would be super, super helpful to help those animals settle in and start to do some healing. Awesome. Yep. So strength under stress, easy acupressure points to help your animal companion. 3 really cool points that we're all going to want to use. And we have a button right here on this viewing page for you guys to go and get that from Susan at Elemental Acupressure.
And we'll do that for both large and small animals. So if you have horses, we got you covered. You got small animals, no matter. I've worked with guinea pigs. It's all the same. They all have the points, so you can get them.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Susan Tenney from Elemental Acupressure, thank you so much for being here with us and sharing your wisdom. And
thank you so much. It is a joy to finally have you here in person. That's been a joy. But also to reach out to all these people that have so much to bring with their animals.
Yeah, it's been super, super fun. And I can't wait to go through the points with you in the bonus interview. And I want to
Absolutely.
remind everybody that you can get your all access pass so you can listen to this interview again and all the other interviews in the summit and the bonus interview with Susan, Strength Under Stress. There's a button on this page also for you to do that. And you get lifetime access to all of the interviews and information in the summit. And the price does go up when the summit ends. So act now to get the best value out of that. Susan Tenney of Elemental Acupressure, thank you so much for being here with us.
Been a total pleasure.
And thank you everybody for being part of this summit. I love being in this community and I love having you be part of it. And I look forward to connecting with you again next time. Bye everybody.